Hey y'all, welcome back. It's another episode of the Late Night Vision Show. It is episode number 221. My name is Jason. I'm the owner of Outdoor Legacy, and I'm going to bring in my co-host who's with me every week, Mr. Hans from the Hans East Texas YouTube channel from the big town of Ben Wheeler, Texas. What's going on?
I'm going to go ahead and break the news right now. Happy AGM Adder release day. Yes, that's it. This is the, I'm going to break the news. This is the review. I can't hold it back anymore. The TS35-384, the TS50-384 Adders. All of y'all have been asking about it. And guess what? We are recording this show. This is a special show, a special release, a special announcement, special review, everything special about this show. But when you're hearing the sound of my voice, that means this show is released. We taped this a few days before the official release of the Adders, but we should have these in stock. If you're hearing my voice right now and you're interested in the Adder, go check it out on the website, outdoorlegacygear.com. Our phone number, 877-350-1818. If you want to purchase the Adder, you can do it online. You can give us a call. I know it's not, we hadn't got into the review, but if you know you want to buy it, go hop on over there, outdoorlegacygear.com. We should have it in stock. If it's not in stock right now, it is very soon, and it's on its way. But we are ready to roll with this. Man, so many people for so long have been asking about the Adders, been wondering about it ever since SHOT Show. And man, I'm going to tell you, this is an exciting review for us to do.
Yeah, it really is. I agree. I'm going to tell y'all something. If y'all follow Hans over on Instagram, you've seen some like teasers that he's put out, these photos. I get questions from customers calling all the time, say, hey, what is that scope that Hans is testing? Right. He's got it like smoke covering or it's blurred or he's got something. What is it? And I'll say this, there's a couple different optics. Okay. It's not just one, but one of them has been the AGM Adders. Hans and I have been testing these for a good while, and we've been very impressed with what we've seen. We've tested, both the 640 and the 384s. The 640s are available as well. Today, this review is going to be on both the 384 models. So I tell you what, guys, rather than us just keep blabbing about it, let's just jump into it because we've got a lot to talk about. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to quickly mention all four models, just so you know what they are. And those are, going to be the 640s and the 384s. And then I'll go over the specifications of both the 384 models. So let's start at the top. The 640 Adder, it's going to be the TS50-640. This is going to be a 2.5 power base magnification optic, and it's going to be $44.95. There's going to be the Adder TS35-640. That is going to be a 2-power base magnification, and it's going to be $39.95. So there we go again. 640 high resolution thermals in that $400 to $4,500 range, which is again something new for 2022. It's very impressive. More and more optics are coming out, under $5,000. Again, guys, we didn't say this. I guess we should have. If you don't know what the Adders are, Hans is going to be showing them. But these units are a 30 millimeter tube, like a daytime scope. That's what they look like. So we'll get into that some more, but just so you're like, what's going on? What's the big deal? It's a totally new design for AGM, getting in here. So, all right, now here's the two models that we're going to talk about today. We've got the Adder TS50-384. It's $29.95. And it's going to be 4-power base magnification. Now, this is a big deal. We'll come back to this. And then the other 384 model is the Adder TS35. It's $24.95, and it's a 3-power. So Adder, by the way, that is ADDER. That is some sort of a type of snake, I believe. So the Adders, these 384 models that we're going to get into today, this is a very big deal because what this is, these two optics are offering something that no one else in the market is offering right now, and that is 3-power base mag, optically, 3 power and 4 power, focusable objective lenses in this kind of image quality for these prices. It just doesn't exist. All of our other, $2,000 to $3,000 optics right now are in the 1.5 to 2 power. 2.2 is the most anybody's got. Hans, if I'm missing something, tell me. I think there's maybe a new optic coming down the road from another company. It's going to be 2.5 power.
Right.
But nobody has 3 or 4 power, especially for 2,500 or this 3,000. So this is going to be really exciting optics, and it's going to. Well, you know what? I'm not going to tell you who it's going to get excited about. You'll find that out when we tell you who it's good for down here. So, all right, I'm going to jump into the specs now. Just know that these two optics are going to basically look the same. They are essentially the same other than lens and magnification, ID range, a few of those things. But all the major specs are the same. So I'm going to go down these. And if I don't say anything different, you can assume that we're, talking about both the 35 and the 50. All right, I'm going to get a drink because I got a lot to say. All right, here we go. So they are 384 by 288 resolution. They're 12 micron, and they're a 50 hertz refresh rate. They are a sub 35 millikelvin. I'm gonna have to hold this sheet up here close because there's the the print is small and I'm getting older. Again, as we said, the 35 is a 3 power. The 50 is a 4 power. The 35 is a 35 millimeter objective lens, and the 50 is naturally a 50 millimeter objective lens. Field of view on the 35 is going to be 39.5 feet at 100 yards. So 39.5 foot horizontally at 100 yards. On the 50, it's going to be 27 foot. Digital zoom, both units have a 1, 2, 4, and 8x digital zoom. They have got a 1024 by 768 OLED display screen. They have 5 reticle types and 4 colors. You can also turn the reticle off or on if you're just doing scanning around and don't want the reticle on to clutter it up. They have 4 color palettes: black hot, white hot, red hot, and a fusion mode. They have picture-in-picture function, and the reticle is in the picture-in-picture. So if you want to shoot with that, you can do it. They do have Wi-Fi built in for a smartphone app. They've got a standby mode. Now here's a big one, and we're going to talk more about this. But they have not only video, but also audio recording. This is going to be the first optic that AGM has put out with video and audio recording. So more on that. They do have a defective pixel correction. They operating temperature is negative 22 Fahrenheit to 131 positive. Negative 22. That is super cold. They are an IPS 6.7 rating. That is fully waterproof submersible. The 35 weighs about 31 ounces, and the 50 weighs about 34 ounces, and the units are about 16 inches long total. Now, there's a couple things I need to come back to talking about batteries, and let me just make sure I didn't mention anything, leave out anything else. Yeah, all right, battery. These units have got an internal 18650. I think it's actually maybe 2 18650s. Doesn't really matter. These are inside the scope. You can't take them out. We can't take them out. Only AGM can service them. But here is the big news. This is hard to believe. This is a record. Hans, is there anything? I don't think there's anything that's beat this. Internal battery life. We charge these babies up, set them on the desk, start the stopwatch, let them run completely down. To our shock, the 384 units got 15 hours and 45
I got
minutes.
tired of checking it. I mean, I was like, man, I want this thing to die already because I kept having to babysit this thing so I knew exactly when it shut off. But yeah, 15 hours
When
and
Hans
45
told me
seconds.
he was at 12, when he told me he was at 12 hours, I said, Oh, don't worry. It won't be long now.
Yeah. It runs forever on the red. I mean, when it shows the battery indicator shows red, meaning it's low. I mean, it seems like it runs another couple hours or something. I mean, it's just forever.
15 hours and 45 minutes. Now, folks, again, that's a best case scenario. That's a bench test indoors, just sitting there, not recording video, not running Wi-Fi, not cold, all that. We get that. But that's realistic. This isn't just some magic number. That is what the battery's got. So you put this thing out in the field and even turning it off, turning it on, multiple days of hunting, recording some video, doing whatever. I think realistically, you could get 13, 14 hours out of this. I think that's very, very realistic. Now, you get into the super cold weather, obviously those numbers are going to come down. Either way, this is the longest internal battery life that we've seen on any of the major brands of thermals. So that's a huge deal. Now, I do want to talk about something else. And I'm going to go ahead and explain how this works because you need to know. On the top of the scope, and Hans will show this here in just a second when he does the walk around, you can remove a battery cap and you can drop in a CR123A battery. So you can put it in there and it's supposed to give you a little extra battery life. But there's a couple little tricks to this thing. So it took us a little bit to figure this out. Number one, that battery needs to be present, or has to be present, before the scope goes dead. So if the scope goes completely dead, you can't, it shuts off, then put the battery in. It doesn't have enough power to do that. It's just, I don't understand it. Just stick with me. You got to have the battery in there first. And what's going to happen is you're going to get a message that says low battery on the internal batteries. It's going to be red, a little battery gauge. You're going to know it's about dead. But right before the scope shuts down, what it will do is that little battery indicator that's a horizontal battery and, again, looks like an empty gauge, it'll disappear and a vertical battery gauge will show up. And vertical is the way this little CR123A goes in there. And so then you're going to be running off of that battery. And we used, Energizer CR123As. I know other brands will get you less mileage. Some of the nicer brands like Panasonic might get you a little more. But we got about another hour and 30 minutes, a little over that, off of that CR123A. So I know you're thinking like, well, an hour and 30 minutes is not much. My opinion is you get a good CR123A, you stick it in the top, you leave it in there, and that's just your spare gas can. This is not what you're going to drive cross country with. It's going to get you to the gas station down the road when you've run out. Yeah. So that's what that's going to be. If that battery, the CR1238, runs out, you can't put another one in there without charging the scope up a little bit because, again, it won't power the scope on. Hans, did I explain that clear as mud?
Yeah, and people how does a scope, get 15 hours and 45 minutes and then the removable battery only gets an hour and a half? I think Jason explained it the best way you can. It is that is not what you want to. You don't want to get down to that point. Now, 15 hours is a long time. That's all night long. But that little battery on top, I mean, you put it in there. But the key is you have to put that battery in there before the scope dies because, like Jason said, it took us a little bit to figure it out. We tested it. We couldn't get it to come on, and it's because we were trying to put the battery in after it was dead, and that is not going to work. So put a battery in there. Again, it's going to limp you back home to where you can start to charge it again. But, 15 hours and 45 minutes is a dang good battery life.
It is.
I was telling Jason, I was like, man, they didn't even need to put this CR123 battery here because it gets such good battery life. 1 hour and a half is nothing compared to what the scope gets. So
exactly.
But yeah, you explained it the best way you could.
So I want a couple more quick things here. One, the unit does have a 3-year warranty. All the AGM scopes 3-year manufacturer warranty. Also, they have Recoil activated video. Now, there is going to be more on that to come. I want to go ahead and let Hans do the walk around and some stuff. So we're going to come back to the Recoil activated video. There are some caveats that I think you need to be aware of on how that Recoil activated video works. And then this is the big thing. I should have said this at the very beginning of the show. It's in my notes down here at the bottom. Guys, if you haven't heard anything yet, listen to this. This is big, big, big news. All 4 of these models, from 2,500 all the way up to the $4,000 and $4,500 640s, all 4 adders, when you buy them, will come in the box with an American Defense Manufacturing Recon quick detach mount. This is a $200 mount. We sell this mount for all the other 30 millimeter, tube optics on the market. We sell piles and piles of these. This is the fantastic mount that Hans and I have talked endlessly about on this show, and AGM is including it for free with every single adder in the box. Huge deal, guys.
Big deal.
I mean, this is, I can't say this enough. It's a $200 mount.
Yeah.
This is the real deal. So you don't have to buy anything else. When you get this scope, you've got the mount on it. It is the only 30 millimeter tube design thermal on the market that comes with any type of quick detach mount, much less an American Defense mount at that. So guys, that is just makes this deal even sweeter.
Yeah. So I'm going to hold up both scopes and then I'm going to talk about them.
Yeah.
We got the 35, which is, they both look the same, y'all, except the diameter of the lens. So this is the 35 millimeter. This is the 50 millimeter objective lens. I'm going to put one of these down so I can talk about this while we go around. Focusable. I mean, both of them are focusable objective lens. The $2,500 model, the TS35 and the TS50. Both of them you can focus, and we're going to talk about all the value that you get with this, not just the mount, but all the features and all this, because there's a lot. But focusable objective lens, focusable eyepiece diopter. It's got a removable rubber eye cup here. Like Jason said, it does have the American Defense Manufacturing 30 millimeter Recon mount. It's the same one that we sell. AGM even had them put their logo on it. How about that, Jason? On top,
I saw that.
Yeah, on top, the battery compartment that Jason was talking about that we showed earlier. That's where that CR123 battery goes in. Basically, just once you use it up, put another one in, screw it down, you're good to go. On the right-hand side of the scope, this is where your USB-C plug goes. That's where you charge the scope, or you can plug it in and download the videos directly to your computer. I was able to get this scope to work on my MacBook, so it is compatible with Apple products. I plugged it in, the icon popped right up, and I was able to download the videos off, no problem at all. So that was definitely a good deal. Also, another neat little feature when you plug the scope in, Jason, you probably noticed, but it's got the little red light to let it know that it's charging. So that's a small little thing, attention to detail that is nice to have to show that the scope's actually charging. So USB-C plug right there. On the other side, this is your menu button and your menu dial, so you can hear the clicks. You probably can't hear it here, but it does click when you turn it. You do a long press to go into the full menu. And then lastly, we've got our 3-button layout here on top, right here on the eyepiece. It's just a very, very flush 3-button layout, record button, power button, and they all do several things. So there's multi functions for whatever press, a short press, long press, whatever you do. But that is the scope. I mean, that's the tube style design we talked about. If you are a bolt action rifle shooter or an AR style rifle shooter, you like to switch back and forth, these style of designs of scopes really do the best because it gives you proper eye relief on whatever platform you're shooting. So that's the walk around. Very easy.
All right.
I got the easy job this week.
I was looking at my notes while you were talking. I was looking at my notes and I see all kinds of things that I left out.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. That's okay. I've made notes.
We need to run down the features, I think, real quick, just to tell everybody again what this thing comes with, because there's a lot. There's a lot of going on here.
So when you say features, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to run it down real quick because I'll do it quickly.
Yeah.
You finish up your notes. So it does come with an American Defense Manufacturing mount. It does have video and audio recording, long-lasting, rechargeable, 15 hours and 45 minute rechargeable battery life with a removable battery compartment up here. It does have this TS35, which is around the $2,500 mark, it does come with all of the features that we talked about with video and audio recording, recoil activated, the video, multiple color palettes. You can sight this in on multiple rifles by using different reticles. Both of these models are under $3,000. So the TS50 is just under $3,000. The TS35 is just under $2,500. But they are, like Jason said, the highest base magnification scopes that you're going to find in this price range. So I just wanted to say the price and all the features that it came with again, because again, there's a lot here that people are getting for minus or under $3,000. There's a lot here.
So real quick, yeah, and it is. There's so much, and I'm looking here at our time, and I'm looking at all the things we really need to talk about. This review is going to go long, so guys, if you're interested in this optic, it's worth watching because we've got a lot more meat here that we've got to get to. One thing I want to just do a real quick comparison to. Hans has got a video that came out earlier in the week, the actual day that these were announced. Hans released his video, in conjunction with AGM's release. And in that video, he's done a comparison of this unit, of like, say, the TS35 to the Rattler TS35, the AGM Rattler. That's going to be a question because they're the exact same price. We're going to make this short here because we've got so much other stuff to get to. But I want to just go ahead and speak to this. The question that a lot of people are asking is, okay, is this just a Rattler with 3 power? And the answer is actually no. These units are better than the Rattlers. These are 12 microns. The Rattlers are 17. And there is a noticeable difference when you put these units side by side. Now, I want to be clear and say this. Guys, I don't think that the Adders are necessarily going to be toe-to-toe with all of the $3,500 optics up there, the $3,300, $3,500, $3,800. I don't. I think they're maybe going to be image quality wise a little below that, but definitely above what we're seeing in the other 2,500 to 3,000. So it's kind of weird to say this, but it's an in between image quality, better than the price competition they're at, but not quite as good as the stuff that cost $500 more. And that's understandable. I mean, very, very understandable. But with that said, their image quality is better than the other $2,000 to $3,000 optics on the market, including the Rattlers. So that doesn't mean if you got a Rattler, you've got to go chunk it in the trash and go buy one of these, because we're going to get into that here in a minute too. These optics are for a different customer due to this magnification, this 3 and this 4 power. They're going to do something totally different than the 1.5 and 2.2 power Rattlers do.
Yeah, I want to.
So again, we'll jump into that. I think let's do.
I want to say something real quick. I want to say something real quick. I don't think.
Yep.
Obviously, like you said, I don't think the Rattler buyer is necessarily the same as the Adder buyer, but I also think that there were a lot of people that probably needed higher magnification that bought a Rattler because of price point. So it's good now that there's multiple choices of magnifications in that under $3,000 price range. But what I will also say, because we've already played the video, I'm going to show the side by side on the podcast here on the video. So if you're listening audio only version, you want to see what the comparison looks like. The side by side video of the Rattler and the Adders really don't do it justice, because looking through both of them in the field, side by side, the Adder definitely has better picture image, a little bit better picture image. But again, I don't think the Rattler buyer is necessarily the same as the Adder buyer. So it's important to know exactly the use and what you're trying to do, because the magnification is really key, the key denominator in this whole equation, basically.
Guys, if you're just more confused than you were 5 minutes ago, call us. That's what we're here for. I mean, if you're looking to buy one of these or thinking that you might want to buy one of them, you're not sure. Maybe you don't, do I need it or do I not? Do I keep my Rattler? Do I buy a Rattler? Call us 877-350-1818. That's what we're here for, is to help you.
Exactly. But and the confusion could be, well, man, I like this Adder because it's got all of these features, rechargeable batteries, all this stuff, but my longest shot's going to be 50 yards. It's like you got to, even though it's got all these great features, but that doesn't mean it's the right optic for you. The Rattlers are still good scopes, and they're still going to be around and very viable. But the Adders are definitely a step above in quality, in picture quality and features.
Yeah, and I'm going to make the point. These are not the replacement for the Rattler. This is a different scope than that. Mm-hmm. So, all right, listen, we're all over the place, and we got a lot.
It's hard to hide our excitement.
To talk about. So it is. It is. So let's do this. Let's talk about. I want to mention something before I forget this. You said the eye cup is removable. It is removable, but guys, I got to tell you how to do this. I'm going to save you a ripped up eye cup. Most eye cups on thermals, you can just peel off and then you put them back on. There's a little, I can't explain it. They just got a little ridge and they fit into it. This is not that way. What you've got to do is, if you just grab that eye cup and twist it, you're going to twist your diopter focus, the eyepiece focus, and nothing's going to happen. What you got to do is you got to put your fingers around there and hold the diopter focus on the rear of the lens, or the rear of the eyepiece. Then you grab right up there close to it and you got to twist. There is another metal piece that is threaded into that diopter focus. It's fine threads. You unscrew that. When you do, you will be left with the rubber eye cup in your hand and this little metal threaded, ring. Mm-hmm. You then peel the eyepiece off, then rethread that little ring back into the eyepiece, the diopter focus. Sounds very confusing, but what I'm just telling you is you can do this, but you cannot rip that thing off, peel it off without unscrewing it. Mm-hmm. And again, the trick is to hold that diopter focus. Again, if you're going, I don't know what's happening. If you buy the scope from us, call us. We can walk you right through it on the phone. No problem. If you buy it somewhere else, call your dealer. I'm sure he'll be glad to help. But that is a little bit tricky. It's a little different. I mean, I kind of like it. It holds that eye cup in place. What you're not going to have is the eye cup falling off of this thing.
Right.
And that's a complaint a lot of times.
Exactly.
So that's a good thing, not a negative. All right. So we've got some more thoughts here, but let's just go generally speaking. I mean, we're telling how much we like it, but let's talk about some overall thoughts on this unit. I mean, how do you think it really stacks up, Hans?
The expectations were really high. I'm going to tell you, because of everybody's excitement. It got me excited because everybody's wanting to know about it when they were coming out. When we finally got these things in our hands, you and I always have this like, okay, it can never be as good as the hype is. I was pleasantly surprised.
I agree.
When you turn it on, I mean, you see the picture image. You see the picture image very good. I think for the magnification levels to have, again, like I said it before, to have higher magnification options under $3,000, I think just broadens that segment of the market even more, and gives people the opportunity that are trying to hit a budget. It gives them the opportunity to buy the correct scope for them instead of settling for something that's not correct for them. But again, I think with all of the features that it came with, and some of them are good features, or some features were like, hey, I wouldn't use it, like the recoil activated recordings. Like, some of this stuff is like you never use. But I think that it exceeded expectations, which rarely ever happens. And we were trying to think of the dislikes, and we're going to be doing the likes and dislikes soon. But I was like, well, I've got one, you've got one, and that's all we've got. And you're like, well, that can't be it. And it's like, yeah, that's it. There's, we don't have that many dislikes of this thing. And the dislike that I have is, not a huge deal, but I think
Well,
that
go for it. Just let's go ahead and
yeah,
roll
the
into it.
only
I mean,
dislike
what
that
would you change?
the only dislike that I had, and it's like I said, it's just a weird thing. But these buttons, and I'm kind of alluded to it earlier. I said that they were flush. Well, they're flush and they're a little hard to distinguish at night. I kept trying to record, but I was pressing the change the color, the palette option. I got better the more I used it. So we've had these things for, gosh, how long we've had these? Several
I
weeks.
don't know. Oh,
And I've been
yeah,
hunting
wow.
with it every night. So I did get used to it. But after a while, when I try to record, I'd actually, one time when I was trying to record, I actually accidentally set down the scope, like turned it off because I didn't know what button I was on. So that's the only negative is there's not a lot of distinguishing. You really got to know where you're at on that little button pad, I guess you'd call
Yeah, I
it.
think with gloves that would be really hard.
With gloves, honestly, y'all, I'm not going to say impossible, but it's tough. It's going to be really tough with gloves. And you bring up a good point because I don't ever think about hunting with gloves because we're in Texas.
I don't either.
But yeah, guys up north wearing big old heavy mittens or whatever they wear, it's going to be a challenge.
But folks, there's no such thing as the perfect scope.
There's
this
not.
is fitting a price point.
No,
it's giving you the magnification that nobody else is. There's always going to be something. I think one thing, this is a minor complaint, and this is really not just about the Adder. It's about the Adder. It's about the Rattler. It's about the varmints, the Taipans, whatever. All of the AGM units. And I want to be fair here. The other brands, there's a couple other brands here that I would have the exact same complaint about. I just wish we had a little more control of the image. And what I mean is you can make adjustments like to your brightness and contrast, but there's 5 adjustments and each adjustment is huge. It's like, well, I really think that I want a little more contrast than 3. And you go to 4 and it's like, whoa, way too much or whatever. I wish that they could change that 5 increments to, 10 would be a minimum, but I'd love like 15 or 12 or just something where I can make fine adjustments. Again, all of the units are that way. Again, their competition is mostly that way. There's, a couple in the market that have got a little better adjustment, but it's just something you kind of got to live with. I'm going to talk about a couple things here, and I hate to say that this is, I don't know if it's a dislike or it's not, but I want to talk about this recoil activated video. I think this is more of just a public service announcement. I know a lot of guys that get all hyped up over recoil activated video, and I'm just going to tell you, I've never been a fan of it in any scope that's ever had it. And part of this is maybe I'm a control freak. I just told you how I want to control my image. I want to control my video. And here's the reason why. If I'm recording, I might want to get some footage of those hogs or that coyote, before I shoot. I may want to get that coyote running all the way in. Maybe he's going to do something cool. Maybe, again, the hogs are out there feeding and maybe they're fighting. And I just want that, 5, 10, 15, 20 seconds of that, what I call pre-roll footage. I want that. I want to be in control. Also, when I make the shot, I want to be in control of how long I record. Even if I don't take another follow-up shot, you never know what that animal's going to do. Maybe he falls over and flops. Maybe he jumps up and runs off. Maybe something else crazy pops up and oh my gosh, there's another coyote that popped his head up standing behind the one I just shot. I didn't even know he was there. There's lots of things. I want to be in control of that recording. Everybody likes the idea of recoil activated video because you go, well, I'm always forgetting to push the button. And okay, I get that, but the issue is recoil activated video in every optic I've ever tested it in is hit and miss. There are times that it doesn't record when it should, and there's times that it records when it shouldn't. Case in point, I was using these optics, handheld, testing them against other scopes and even testing them against each other. And I would have it in my hand and just holding it, and I would look up and see it was recording video. Well, I didn't shoot, I didn't drop it, I didn't bang it into anything. Other times I would find when I was trying to get the recoil activated video to work, it might not. It might work 99 times out of 100, but if it's that one time you're expecting it to work and it doesn't, it's always the time that, you know, you had a triple on the coyotes or whatever,
right.
and you didn't get there. So again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, and I'm not saying this doesn't work, because it worked the majority of the time. But there is one more thing you need to know. The way this thing is currently set up, again, this could be changed later on, I don't know. The way it is right now, it records for 14 seconds. Maybe it's 15, but we're only showing 14 seconds on the clip. It records for 9 seconds before the shot, which I like. That's good. But it only records for 5 seconds after the shot. So if that animal doesn't flop over dead and not move, you didn't catch it. And so if you've got a follow-up shot, then he's running off, you know, it's gonna have to stop and hit that, you know, recoil and start again. You're gonna have a glitch in your videos. Listen, this is what recoil activated video does. They can't have it record for a minute before and a minute after. You'd fill up all your video. I mean, this is the way it's supposed to work. I'm just giving you this advice.
Yep. I agree with
If you want to record video, push the button.
Push the button. It's always been unreliable in any scope it's ever been in. I am glad that people have it now, and if they want it, they can use it. But yeah, you got to remember.
I'm not talking bad about it. I'm just going to say this: don't call me and moan that it doesn't work because you didn't know. I'm giving you fair warning that and again, in AGM's defense, the recoil activated video worked better than most that I've used. Okay. So this is my general talk on recoil activated video, but that's that. And so the only other thing, you know, I would mention, Hans, you know, we talked about the battery. We already went into that. I think that the CR123A battery that goes in the top is a little confusing. It's a little weird how it doesn't power the scope. I don't know. It's a little strange, but I don't care. And like Hans said, I don't even care if it's not there. Yeah. I'm getting over 15 hours of runtime as it is. That is phenomenal. And if you're really out there and you're worried, you can always take that USB battery pack. Like Hans said, it's got a USB-C. You can plug that right in the side and, you know, get you another 15, 20 hours, however long your battery pack will last. So I think when it comes over to the likes, there's so many. I am glad it has recoil activated video. For the guys who want it, you've got it. For the guys that, you know, want that little extra bit of you know, the spare gas can, as I called it, with the CR123A, you've got it. The audio in the video recording, that's something that the audio is really loud. And so if you're talking in just a normal voice, it's going to be pretty kind of like you had your mouth up to the microphone, you know, but I know most of the time you're going to be out there whispering, whatever. You just know the audio is going to be really loud and a little, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. I don't know.
It's sensitive. It's sensitive, but it's
sensitive. It's a little oversensitive, but hey, it's audio. Nobody else down here is offering this. That's a big deal.
For all you people out there that know audio and editing and stuff, the gain is really high, is what it sounds like on it. But yeah, it's got audio. It does got audio. Hey, you can hear the shot. You can hear yourself talk. You know, if you're cutting up or telling a funny story while you're shooting a coyote, it'll get it. It just sounds like your mouth's right on the microphone.
Yeah, and I want to finish up these likes, and we're going to move into the next section. I want to just real quick, again, guys, American Defense mount, $200 mount, comes with it. You're set up, you're ready to go. And then this is where I think we need to transition. It's back to the 3 power and the 4 power. That's a huge deal. Had these scopes come in at 1.5 power and 2 or 2.5 power, I don't think I would be near as excited. I think it'd be like, okay, cool. It's another option. This is, Hans, and I think, you know, we both agree on this. This is what the coyote hunter, the varmint hunter, even guys that are hog hunters and just want or need a little more magnification have been begging for, because they don't necessarily want to spend $32,000 to $4,000 to get that. and now they have got it in this price range, and I think that's a big deal.
It is a big deal, and like I said before, it's going to allow people to buy the correct optic for their need instead of having to settle on something because they're trying to hit a price point. So the features and all of the things that come with it are great, but it's still important to decide on an optic that is going to fit the performance of what you need.
So let's talk about this real quick. I did not do this earlier. I know we're very late in the show, but hey, you got to watch the whole thing to get all the tidbits. And here it is. Realistically, the identification ranges on these models, I would say that the TS35 3-power is probably going to be around that 250 yard range. I think you can positively identify a hog or coyote out in that range. I think the 50 being a 4-power is going to get you out there closer to that 300 yard range. I'm not saying that I'm going to advise everybody to run out and shoot 300 yards with this, but I do think that you will be able to, most of the time in normal conditions, identify a hog or a coyote at those distances. And I think the big thing is going to be for, again, the coyote hunters. And again, I'm not excluding you hog hunters, because there's a lot of hog hunters that love 3-power. But there's a lot of coyote hunters that almost have to have 3 and 4 power. I mean, they're just, you're out there hunting in these big, wide open areas. And I think that that's where these scopes are going to really shine, as for those guys who are like, hey, that Texas hog hunting, that sounds great at 20, 30, 40, 50 yards, but we're not doing that. We're shooting 150. We're shooting 200 because those coyotes won't come in. Yeah. I think this is going to be very popular with that hunter.
I think that you're right. Also, I say there's a lot of guys out there, and I'm in this boat too. My eyesight isn't as good as it used to be, and there's guys that are shooting and say, you know what? I mean, my eyes. I'm a hog hunter. I don't shoot that far, but I need more magnification. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be. I need to be able to see better, or they're shooting over feeders at 100 yards away for hogs. But yes, in general, these are going to be considered scopes for coyote hunters or people that are out hunting in wide open spaces. There's also guys out there that say, I'm a coyote hunter, but I go to Texas once a year to hog hunt. So, should I get a 2-power optic or a 3-power optic? Well, don't buy a scope based on one hunting trip a year. Base your decision on what you're doing the majority of the time, which would be coyote hunting. So I do see this as these optics for coyote predator hunters that are in wide open spaces. I see this as for hog hunters that are also in wide open spaces, or in general for hunters that for whatever reason, their eyesight or whatever, feel like they need more magnification to be more confident when they're taking a shot.
Yep. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. I think these scopes are a very exciting addition to the thermal market. I think AGM is proving themselves to continue to, push the envelope with relevant scopes. With the varmints that are laser rangefinders and very good prices, the rattlers that are small and compact, very good prices. Now these adders with more features, better for bolt action shooters, better for guys that are shooting both AR and bolt action, going back and forth. Again, all the new features, audio recording, the recoil activated video, the long battery life. So I think that the bar just keeps getting raised. And I am really glad to see AGM out there raising that bar. And I tell you guys, these are going to be really big sellers. We will be reviewing the 640s later on. We wanted to do these 384s first because we just think they're going to just blow the market wide open. And a lot of guys are going to be looking into these. We are glad to help you figure out whether you need the 35 or the 50, or maybe you just need a rattler. Maybe you need a varmint. Maybe you need something else. We're glad to help you with that. If you're looking to purchase from us, then one of the services that we offer is you call us, and that's what we do. We will help you figure out which one of these optics is perfect for you, fits your budget, has everything that you need in it. So do not hesitate to call. We're here for our customers because we know this is confusing, and that's why we do what we do.
Yep. And here's one thing I know for sure. These adders will not last very long. These are going to be big sellers. You and I talked about it. These things are not going to sit on a shelf for very long. So if you are interested in purchasing one or getting on a list to back order, if they're sold out, whatever, if you want more information about purchasing one of these adders, give us a call, 877-350-1818. You can find all of the information on the website, outdoorlegacygear.com. Go check out my review. It's got some video as well, a little bit of hunting video included in there on my YouTube channel, Hans ETX. I've already reviewed these a few days ago, so you can go check that out on that latest review. If you're looking for Jason, you can find him on Facebook. You can find him on Instagram. You can find him on YouTube, Outdoor Legacy Gear. You can find me over at Instagram, and you can find all of our past episodes at thelatenightvision.show.com. But please give us a call if you're interested in the adders. They're either in stock right now or they're about to be. So if they're not in stock, you definitely want to get on a list.
All right, folks, we appreciate you listening. We know this was a long show, but there was a lot of information to pack in. I feel like we could have talked for another 20 minutes about the scope and how great they are and different things about them. But listen, check out Hans's review. He's going to have some other information in there. We hope you enjoyed it. Please, as Hans said, subscribe to our channel. This is where you're going to find all the latest breaking news in the night vision and thermal hunting industry, and we're glad to bring it to you. So between now and next week, y'all stay safe in the fields and keep making those bacon pancakes.